Hey guys, Agent of Doubt here, world's worst SJW. So, I watched two videos by BibleThumpingWingnut. It's been years since I've done such a thing, and I was just scrolling my subscriptions, as one does when you're, stricken with nostalgia and you want to look at some of the people that you used to watch. And I see a video from BibleThumpingWingnut where the thumbnail, says social justice should be called ... Spoilers. It's all about envy. In the end, that's the way his pastor explains it. Anyways, after that video and me kind of disagreeing with some of the points in that, I saw a thumbnail for another one of his videos, and it had DC Talk, or like the former member of DC Talk in it, and he's like now in the Newsboys, and I recognized this guy from when I was stuck in evangelical Christianity as a child, and I was like, oh my goodness. He's talking about deconstruction. What could that mean? And then I noticed that BibleThumpingWingnut now considers his show BTWN News. So it's put on in this news format. And one of the things he said about the three members of DC Talk is he said that Kevin Max, one of the members, could no longer be considered a believer. Here, I'll just play it. I've queued it up, right, and it's right here.
Kevin Max, this gentleman on the far left, he has recently deconstructed his faith and no longer can be considered a believer. And this is Toby Matt.
So, yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, if he's not a believer anymore, and he was like the leader of this little movement within, Christian music that's trying to keep up with secular music, and, kind of, when you look back at it now, it's kind of laughable, their attempts at, converting people through music. But, I was like, if he is not a believer, I wonder if he's got one of those books where he comes out as an atheist and he has like a tell-all, right? So I go ahead and look him up on Wikipedia. I'm looking for like this moment in his bio where like he turned on everyone and said, I don't believe this stuff anymore. I didn't find it. I did not find it. And I was like, well, BTWN News said that he's not a believer anymore. What's that all about? What I found was, and this was like in a little footnote. So there was a link to an article off his Wikipedia page, right? And this article is on the Christian Post, and it says, DC Talks Kevin Max says he's an ex-evangelical, deconstructing and progressing. And it goes on to show that there were some back and forths online with some people on Twitter, and he said that he's angry with people who are using his words ex-evangelical to say whatever they want about him. In response to a social media user who said Max no longer believed in Jesus, the Jesus Freak singer quipped, "Nope, I didn't say that. Read text carefully." And in another post he said he still follows the universal Christ. And I have no idea how many people's blogs or podcasts are using that announcement for further division, but I'm here for the grace. Now, what stood out to me about that was the words further division right here, right? and he says, "I'm here for the grace," right? And what stood out to me about that line right there was that first video I watched from BibleThumpingWingnut, which was posted just earlier today. And he's covering a sermon from his favorite pastor, John MacArthur of the MacArthur Bible, right? And the quote that he's quoting from his pastor is, "The last thing we should be known for is disunity." And look at him agree with it.
For us, the gospel is to create a new society. And the last thing that should ever identify us, the last thing that should ever be characteristic of us, is disunity.
Yeah. That's the last thing that we should be known for.
That's the last thing we should be known for. Right? And here's this guy, Kevin Max from DC Talk, says he has no idea how many people's blogs or podcasts are using that announcement for further division, like disunity. But he's here for the grace, right? He's obviously still a Christian. What happened was, he's decided to disavow himself from, the horrible political nature of some of the other people in the evangelical movement. So, because he doesn't want to believe everything the same way that BibleThumpingWingnut believes, because he has a difference of opinion on certain political things, BibleThumpingWingnut now declares he's not a believer. And it's in that declaration that I feel that BibleThumpingWingnut is the source of the disunity. It's him dividing people by saying, well, you're not welcome in the house of the Lord if you don't believe the same way that I believe. If you want to call yourself an ex-evangelical and be part of like a postmodernist evolution of what evangelicals were and leave out all the bad things that I still do, then you can't be a part of my club. You are no longer considered a believer by me. And that, to me, is either not understanding that quote from his pastor's service this week that he seemed to agree with at the time, or it's hypocrisy. Can somebody square this for me? Like, make it make sense. Or, in this, 5 years since I've watched BibleThumpingWingnut, is he still stuck in the same mentality? And just, saying, well, if you disagree with me on this little thing, then you're not a Christian. Is he still doing that shit to this day? I mean, that's a lot of disunity for saying that you're all for unity.